going on? It's your boy Luke. Here we've got our top 6 value plays here for the 2021 Shriners Children's Open. In this video, we're going to cover my custom model's favorite 6 plays priced $8,000 and below for the Draftkings slate. And on top of having solid floor projections, these golfers are going to have the kind of upside necessary for GPP contests. And before we hop into this week's picks though, just wanted to mention the live stream that we have going on tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That is our weekly PGA DFS live stream where we're going to cover our player pool, ownership projections. We're going to cover any live Q&A that you have, anything that you guys want to talk about. So make sure to stop on by tomorrow while you're making your lineups to get any answers questioned. Without any further delay though, let's hop into the value plays for this week. And before we hop into the 6 picks for this week, just wanted to go over a few of our picks that made the core plays video, just because we're not going to go over them again here. We also had Mito Pereira at $7,800, Cam Davis at $7,300, also Keith Mitchell at $6,600. So all of them great plays for this slate. If you want to see my full breakdown of all of their games, make sure to look at my core plays video. Link will be in the description. But hopping into the picks for this video, at number 6 we have Lebioda at $6,300, and he's a little bit of a sneaky play for me. He's somebody who doesn't have very many great finishes of late, a few missed cuts, a few made cuts, but nothing special. But if we take a look at his shots gained numbers, we really start to see why he's an intriguing play. So over his last 24 measured rounds, he's getting a whopping 0.86 shot gain putting, which is going to be great here at a birdie fest where you have to drop a lot of putts, especially on bent grass where it ends up being his second best surface. So not quite as good as he is on Bermuda grass, but I'd like to see that he has some familiarity there. Also has been very good from tee to green, gaining nearly half a stroke per round from tee to green. Really doesn't have much of a weakness, if at all. And if he's going to have a weakness, if we're going to take a jab at him, dive a little bit deeper into him, it's going to be the off the tee play, right? Somebody who's not one of the longer players on tour tends to be a little bit inaccurate at times, but here at the Shriners at TPC Summerlin, if anything is de-emphasized, is minimized here, it is the off the tee play. This is a course where you get some extra rollout because it got really hard soil there. Also, you're at elevation. You're going to get an extra 6 to 7 yards of carry on your drives, so love to see that. I love the price point, obviously, only $6,300, but also a great leverage spot, and actually somebody I have an outright bet on at 300 to 1. At number 5, we have Ryan Palmer at $7,500, and if we take a look at Ryan Palmer's recent form, we're not going to get much excited at all because he's pretty much losing across the board. He's somebody who took some time off due to injury and ended up getting a little bit rusty over that stretch. I mean, we saw him play a few times towards the end of the 2020 season. It didn't look very good. So what I'm doing with Palmer, the reason why I'm excited to play him this week is I took a little bit of a longer term approach. And honestly, from a course fit perspective, there's none much better than Ryan Palmer. Somebody who isn't a prolific off the tee player, but is prolific with his irons. Somebody who is going to gain over 0.6 strokes per round with his approach play pretty much year in and year out. He's only had 1 year where he's gained less than that with the irons. Also gets really hot with the putter. Tends to do very well on this bent grass surface. Also usually makes the tours top 10 in birdie or better percentage. So with all of that in mind, somebody who has the type of game to go low, to get to 24, maybe even 25 under and take this kind of course down. So I really like him as a sneaky pick. Again, the recent form isn't there. A lot of people that are using recent form only are going to avoid him altogether, but I think that'd be a little bit foolish, especially when we take a look at his long-term pedigree. At number 4, we have Ian Poulter at an even $7,000, and he had a little bit of a disappointing Ryder Cup performance. You know, he was one of my picks for that Ryder Cup, but came out a little bit flat. Him and Rory McIlroy couldn't get any momentum going, and that kind of seeped into the rest of his matches as well. Still ended up taking down his match in singles, which is great to say, but by all shots gained metrics, obviously Ryder Cup aside because we don't have those, he's been great, especially when we've seen him on the PGA Tour. He's gaining across all 4 major statistical categories, including off the tee where you would expect him to struggle the most. Those include gains of 0.33 shots gained approach per round, also 2/3 of a stroke per round around the green, and over half a stroke per round putting. So if he brings the irons with him to Las Vegas, like we've seen of late, he's going to be in a great spot to contend. Wanted to quickly remind you guys of the Patreon page that I have going for my PGA Tour projections. If you guys were looking for access to my takes on every player in this week's field, look no further than that Patreon page. It's just $1 a month. You get my projected points for every player in this week's field, as well as my ownership numbers, some game theory notes, access to the GS Luke Discord, and more. So make sure to check that out if you want my projections for every player in this week's field and all of the fields going forward. So the best part is about this, just $1 to join. Link will be in the description. Highly recommend you guys check it out. And now back to the picks. At number 3, we have Brian Harman at $7,600. And if you had to make a course for Brian Harman, TPC Summerlin would probably be it. This is a course where off the tee is minimalized and players are going to get extra rollout, and accuracy means the most so that you can get that extra rollout. This is also a course that's a second shot golf course demanding elite iron play, and also an event where you have to make a ton of birdies and hole a ton of putts. All of those things are things that Brian Harman does and does very well. So if you take a look at his recent form, he has similar concerns to somebody like Ryan Palmer. Has not been in very good form, but again, this is a brand new season, the 2021-2022 season. He's had plenty of time to get his game together, take a break, perhaps hit the reset button, that sort of thing. And just like Ryan Palmer, somebody that I'm buying back on in hopes that he's getting back into form. At number 2, we have Adam Schenk at $6,800. He was a core play of ours last week. Didn't end up making the cut. Really made a strong push to do so towards the end of his second round, though. Ended up shooting 4 under, missing the cut on the number. And anytime somebody misses the cut on the number, the aura around him is not going to look good. People get really down on themselves. They hate themselves for playing them. And as a result, he usually gets very low owned for quite some time. So Adam Schenk's kind of that guy this week. He's been very solid over his last 24 rounds. Again, he was a core play last week, so not much is going to change, especially missing the cut on the number. He's been very solid with the ball striking, gaining 0.29 shots gained per round. Very solid with his putting, gaining over half a stroke per round there. And he's top 15 in the field in birdie or better percentage. So pretty much checking all the boxes that we're looking for. Somebody who's going to put himself in plenty of scoring opportunities and also has the putter to get it done as well. I think the icing on the cake here, and perhaps what tripped him up a little bit, is that Bermuda grass is not his best surface. His best surface by far is bent grass. So he gains an additional quarter of a stroke per round on these greens. So perhaps he flips the putter that he didn't have over at the Sanderson Farms at Jackson and puts up a good finish here in Las Vegas. At number 1, though, our most expensive value play on the channel to date. So much so a good value play that we bended the rules. We ended up making it $8,000 and cheaper rather than $7,500. And that's just because I love EVR so much this week. And if you take a look at his recent form, his shots gained metrics, it'll make perfect sense. So over his last 24 measured rounds, he's killing it with his ball striking. Those include gains of over 0.8 strokes per round, 0.37 shots gained off the tee per round, and nearly half a stroke per round on approach. I mean, that's something that we're not typically seeing from Erik van Rooyen. Ever since he had the child a few months ago, the guy's been playing like someone else, playing like a guy possessed. So with all of that in mind, he is the number 2 player in the field in birdie or better percentage. He's also been filling up with the putter. Perhaps that's why he's been so good with the birdie or better percentage, gaining 0.43 shots gained putting per round. So this is by far the best stretch of golf that he's played in his career. And just like Adam Schenk, the icing on the cake are the bent grass numbers. It is one of the 2 surfaces that he actually gained strokes putting on for his career. So very confident that, he can continue that momentum and put up yet another great finish. That's all for this week's value plays. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments who you think the best fantasy scorer is, priced $8,000 and below, and why. Would love to get some debate down in the comments. Obviously for me, if I'm going to bend the rules to make it $8,000 and below, we know I'm all over Erik van Rooyen. Just love the birdie or better percentage, love the ball striking, love the familiarity with bent grass, and while he's a little bit more expensive than most of our value plays, really have a lot of conviction behind this one. So again, thank you guys for watching as always. If you guys haven't already liked the video, you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and do so. I'll see you guys later for my top 3 fades and sleepers, as well as the live stream on Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Again, bring any questions that you have. Hope to see you there. Good luck, and until then, peace.